Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar titled Protect Your Supply Chain with Cybersecurity. My name is Crystal, and I'm part of the team at Hoplan InfoSec. First off, I want to thank you all for taking time to join us today. We know your time is valuable, and we genuinely appreciate your presence. As business continue to grow and work with more vendors and partners, we all know that cyber criminals are evolving their tactics. They always have, they always find ways to find something like, ransomware, phishing, and everything. Not just targeting companies directly, but exploiting third-party vulnerabilities as well. This is the reason why we're hosting this session to help you understand those risks, to spot the red flags, and most importantly, to take proactive steps to secure your supply chain with smart cybersecurity strategies. We're very honored today to be joined by two outstanding speakers and leaders in the cybersecurity and smart technology space. We have here Mr. Mohammed Talukder, co-founder and CEO of Hoplan InfoSec, and Mr. Imran Khan, which is founder of Leah Smart. They will be sharing valuable insights, real-world examples, everything that happened in the cyber threats and cyber attacks that happened in the real world, and actionable tips you can start, which you can apply it right away to strengthen your operations. So throughout the session, please feel free to engage with us. Drop your questions in the chat or maybe take notes and sit back, relax, and listen to our leaders and make the most of this learning opportunity. So let's get started. Mr. Imran, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Crystal, for the wonderful introduction. Really appreciate it. We are here today to discuss about how cybersecurity is going to intersect with supply chain. So this is really a needed topic for the industry, both of the industry, and it is going to have a greater impact on the business customers and business partners, and they are not really thinking about it, but they really need this strategy or approach very soon to make their supply chain robust. So what I'm going to get started with giving a general idea about the supply chain or supply chain management. And before that, just to introduce myself, myself, Imran Khan. I am the founder of Leah Smart. We are a supply chain innovation company. We specialize with a lot of supply chain optimization, transformation, utilizing systems and smart technologies to really build next generation supply chain. So when we look into today's supply chain, it is evolving very fast and it has evolved a lot over the time. Now a typical supply chain consists of multiple countries, now tens of suppliers, vendors, service providers, tens of employees located in multiple geographies, working in multiple time zones, dealing with multiple level of securities, whether it is compliance or IT security, dealing with a lot of different systems, dealing with a lot of different types of data, dealing with a lot of different types of processes. So I'm giving an example of a typical small scale supply chain. If we apply that in a bigger global interconnected supply chain, that situation is going to get much more intense. So to handle that kind of a situation, we really need a robust supply chain management strategy coupled with good IT strategy and as well as business strategy. So today I'm going to dig deeper more into a typical example of a pharmaceutical supply chain. So when we source the raw materials from raw material sources, for example, we source the raw materials from China, and from there it get transported to other factory location in Europe or in the US, and then from there the production is happening, and then it gets distributed to any market through the logistics companies, is being distributed to US market or any other market through the pharmacy channel. So in that case, there are a lot of different parties being involved, and then also what is happening, a flow of data and information, and the regulatory framework is sitting on top of that. China sending goods to the US, customs process are very relevant. Product that need to be sold in the US market, FDA regulations are very relevant. So in this process, the companies are working with various processes. I need a lot of optimization. This is where the AI and natural language processing comes in, and as well as cybersecurity process comes in. So in a typical supply chain situation, the raw material sourcing is happening, and then after that, we, apart from the manufacturing, we do the distribution, and then also we do the dispensing of the product down to the patients or consumers. So if you look into these four major steps, there is an always an opportunities of a risk management strategies that is really needed to counter any kind of cyber threats, any kind of theft, any kind of shutdown, or any kind of disruption within the global supply chain. And to really build up that kind of scalable strategies, the companies or the businesses really need strong partner who actually specializes in this space. Having said that, I will give the floor over to Mohammed Talukdar to continue from here.
Thank you, Imran. And it was a very nice introduction. And you kind of explained like what is supply chain. And from here, let me little bit of examples and little bit of basics about cyber attacks in supply chain. So first of all, myself, Mohammed Talukdar, I am the co-founder and CEO of Upland InfoSec. We are a one-stop cybersecurity solution provider. And today we are partnered with Leo Smart, and we are going to talk about why supply chains are vulnerable to cyber attacks, right? So if we think about it, in today's world, cyber threats are becoming sophisticated. As we all know, AI is getting implemented in cybersecurity industry, and attacks are getting sophisticated and also engineered well. So for example, they are using advanced techniques for malware, phishing, ransomware, right? So if we categorize it in a such a way, right? One is rising cyber threat. So cyber threat is getting increased day by day. And second one in supply chain is a complex ecosystem. And third, I would say third party and fourth party risk. So what I mean by complex ecosystem. So about complex ecosystem means is, like as Imran was talking about, there will be multiple vendors, multiple companies will be involved in the supply chain platform. So that's why it is very much difficult for a single vendor to understand, to get a clear picture about their ecosystem, at the same time their network. And that's why it is complex, because it will be not always visible for companies to see what type of network they're using, what type of firewall they're using, and those techniques. And as we know, right, what are the common vulnerabilities in supply chain? So as I was mentioning, that multiple vendors, that's one of them. Second one is lack of visibility on your vendors or suppliers. The third one is, I can say, is phishing and social engineering on your logistic partners. So let's say you are a company where you are sourcing or you are using different logistics for your supply chain. and it will be pretty much difficult for you to see what type of safeguard they're using in terms of phishing and social engineering. And the second one is, we all know we are using softwares every day, and criminals are also getting engineered with how to inject malicious codes into your softwares. So, so some of the common techniques is like SQL injections and get your software corrupted, and you can get into a victim of that attack. So let's talk about a little bit of emerging threats and trends, right? So AI is getting more sophisticated, and you will be surprised to know cyber criminals are using AI to create phishing attacks. And it is not only for supply chain industry, it is for everywhere. And supply chain industry is their one of the big target. On the same time, we can also talk about insider threats. We can talk about ransomware, and deepfake is another one in the supply chain industry. So if you are hit with a ransomware, it doesn't mean that you pay the ransom, you will get your data back. So that's why it's very important to get prepared for this kind of attacks. And you know, if we go to an examples and to get a better understanding, so I would say I would bring up few examples to kind of give you guys a better understanding how this is impacting in the supply chain industry. So first, I will start an example from 2 years back. So this is an example from Movie Transfer. It's a progress software. And what happened on this particular software, it was uh, SQL injection. So if we talk about it, what exactly happened? So victims was around 93 million individuals, and it was impacted around 2,500 organizations. And the business impact was about $15.8 billion. And you will be surprised to know it was only down for 48 hours. And they were able to up and running the business within 48 hours. In this 48 hours, they lost $15.8 billion. So that's a huge impact on a supply chain industry. So what is the lesson learned from here? For this particular example, supply chain risk is real, and we have to always proactive with the softwares that we are using and continuous patching and coordinate with your software vendors and companies. So now I will move on to a recent example. So this happened in June 2025, exactly 1 month before from today. So it was UNFI, that's the name of the company, and it was delivery was halted and order was delayed, and there was a food shortage because of this cyber attack, and it happened into the retail industry, and some of the food chain was impacted, and almost 400 million revenue losses. What exactly it happened? So it was a phishing attack, and using this phishing attack, they were able to log into their system, and they were able to do a bilateral movement and make it a company outage. So in this example, we can see phishing attack is we categorize in the cybersecurity industry as social engineering because we have to identify whom should we make our target to do this phishing attack. And this is the top threat and high volume logistic operations. So let's move on to a different example. So another example I would say is JBS Foods, and it happened this month. And this is also in a supply chain industry, and it's also related to a food industry. It's a meat delivery, meat processing plant, I would say. And delivery was interrupted due to this, and substantial recovery cost was affiliated with that. And it is done by a state registered group, and even in the food plant we are not safe from supply chain. And what exactly happened? It was shut down, and if all the deliveries was impacted, and people were not able to find foods into their supply chain stores. So we have talked about what is the emerging threat. We talked about what are the common techniques people are using an example. So I would say in terms of common techniques they are using is they're doing phishing to gain initial access. And then another one they're doing like malicious code execution. And the next one, I would say, heavily impacted in the supply chain industry, which is ransomware. And in terms of common theme across the US attacks are basically third-party vulnerabilities. Second one we can categorize as a physical disruption. And also at the same time, I would say, we are also seeing that state-sponsored ransomware group is getting involved in those cyber attacks. So let's move on. Like I would say from our experience, how can we make supply chain more secure against cyber attacks? In a supply chain industry, risk management and risk assessment is very important. So first is map your supply chain. So identify all the vendors, especially with the critical ones. Perform your cyber due diligence. And next thing is very much key to be successful in the supply chain industry, which is continuous monitoring. Continuously monitor what's going on. And at the same time, established cybersecurity frameworks like NIST framework. Like if we are doing AI, we have a framework for AI, which is 42001. We should have that. And also CMMC structured risk control framework. We should implement that as well. And next one, we would say we should introduce the security best practices into the supply chain industry. So in the security best practices, I would say vendor security with zero trust architecture, secure data exchanges, encryption, tokenizations. And in the continuous monitoring, what we would say is deep and dark web monitoring is very important. We talked about an example where we have uh, we have seen, right, this social engineering was used, and they were able to do the social engineering using a credential theft. So how they got those credentials? From a deep and dark web. So if we do a continuous monitoring on the deep and dark web, the moment your credential is leaked into the dark web, we will be able to know that something has been leaked into the dark web. We will be able to get ourselves prepared for this kind of attacks. And lastly, I would say in the AI era, we should have more uh, use of AI and automations. So with that, I would pass it to Imran and say, Imran, now let's talk about how we can help to the industry as a Hoplon and Leah Smart can help and support supply chain.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mohammed. So the way I will highlight this is, based on what I have seen in the industry. You mentioned due to cyber attack, delivery was impacted, right? I think there's a lot of supply chain leaders who would not really understand that why delivery was impacted because of a cyber attack. But it was truly that the delivery could not be completed because they had to wait till the cyber attack has been addressed and resolved. So this is really needed for all the organizations, because there is a lot of supply chain leaders out there who will be very much surprised that why my delivery is getting late or impacted. Delivery operations are being halted just because of an IT issue. So they are not realizing the picture. So they need, uh, first of all, they need this kind of understanding uh, across wide varieties of industries, that if you happen to have any cybersecurity attack, that not only disrupts your data but also it disrupts your physical operation, right? So they have to, I mean, there are some smart leaders out there who understand that, but I would say uh, probably a large portion are either not aware of it, or they are, I'll say they are in a subconscious mode, or they are more like in a sleeping mode, that they will wake up once a disaster really happens. So, and the supply chain is getting more and more complex. So that's why we need system that can really make the other systems much more resilient, like supply chain control tower, ERP system, uh, uh, metrics or dashboard system, or any business intelligence system, or any other transactional system, procurement system, warehouse management system, production planning system, planning software. So there are a variety of software. If any of the software gets impacted by a cybersecurity threat, there are opportunities there. There are possibilities that the other softwares within the systems are also going to get impacted. Then also that those systems has linkage with the suppliers upstream, and those system has linkage with the customers downstream. Guess what? Those API connections, EDI connections, or any other, even with the flat file connections, can get really impacted. So we are truly addressing a global ecosystem to really help the companies to become much more resilient. So we can um, uh, help from Leah Smart and as well as Hopulan InfoSec, that we will work with you. We will understand your supply base. We will understand the kind of suppliers that you're dealing with, no matter where they are located in North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, Latin America, or Africa. We'll work with your suppliers. We'll work with your systems. We'll build a system portfolio assessment. Then we will drive risk assessment, not just from an IT standpoint, but from a business standpoint, so that you can really see the impacts, what is happening today, and also kind of impact that is coming in the near future or very long down the line, maybe in 5 years or 10 years. Being a global organization, you may be interested to be much more prepared for 10 years timeline. And then we will also help you with your AI strategy. We'll make sure the AI tools that you really have is really helping you. It is relevant, it is producing consistent result, and it is producing results that really drives your profit and revenue. And then also these AI tools is really producing good quality data, and it's really easy to use, and also it doesn't have any roadblocks or problems with regulatory standards. So yeah, having said that, I would invite Mohammed to dive in a little bit more from a different angle. Are you in your mid? Sorry.
Sorry. Thank you, Imran, for that speech, what you just said. So, just to add on what Imran was saying, right? So, it doesn't matter where are you located. We are present globally. And Hoplons, we have our operations in North America, Europe, Asia, and Middle East. And if we need anywhere, we will be able to provide the support. So, in terms of cybersecurity, I would say, in a nutshell, what are the things that will protect uh, cybersecurity standpoint? What are the things will protect supply chain industry? One is vendor risk assessment. Next one, continuous monitoring, where I will talk about deep and dark web monitoring. At the same time, threat intel. So before attack happen, we should know about those attacks so that we can be prepared for those attacks. In addition to that, we would say security awareness training. So you have your employees, so we should get them educated about cybersecurity. So in the cybersecurity space, a lot of things it happened because somebody clicks something they are not supposed. So the moment we will start educating our own employees and our organization's people, that will also minimize the risk. And Imran is already talked about AI driven risk. So this is something is very important. AI is out there. So bad actors are using AI to create a sophisticated attack. So we should use AI to enhance our defense as well. So with that, I would say I would conclude from my side, and I will give it back to Crystal. Crystal, if we have any questions from audience, please let us know.
And yes, actually, thank you both of you for the very wonderful talk. We have here questions. I'm gonna start here with what is Hopland's strongest capability or strongest side when it comes to cybersecurity?
Okay. Thank you, Crystal, for this question. So I would say Hoplon's strongest capability is we provide defense and offense. So we provide cybersecurity from both sides. One, not only from the defense standpoint, we have a very good offensive security team where we go ahead and find out your vulnerabilities and we exploit those vulnerabilities before threat actors were able to identify those vulnerabilities and it is exploitable. So that way you are prepared from the outside portion of it. And this is, I would say, we are providing one stop. One is offense and one is from the defense standpoint. So that's why we call it Hoplon as a one-stop cybersecurity solution.
Awesome. We have few questions here. So the other one is, can a ransomware attack affect an ERP system that is already up and running?
That's a very good question. So ransomware attacks it could happen like, what is ransomware attacks? Ransomware attacks is, I am hacked into your database, and now I will stop giving you access to access your data. So that way you won't be able to access your data. That means you pay me a ransom, then I will give you the access. Absolutely, it could happen with an ERP system, and this is something is happening out there, and we should be careful about this as well. And one thing I would like to mention here is not always necessary to is not always guarantee, I would say always not guaranteed that you paid the ransom you will get your data back. So in a ERP system, let's say you have 1,000 terabytes of data, but you paid the ransom, those guys, bad actors, delete some of your data. So it's always good to have a proper disaster recovery plan. So in case of having this ransomware attack. Back to you, Crystal.
Right, right. All right. So aside from ransomware, we have another question here that I guess related to that question because it says here, how does cybersecurity affect mobile devices like barcode scanners or RFID devices in the supply chain?
Okay, so let me give you an example. So barcode scanner, right? So what is the barcode scanner? So barcode scanner, we are scanning a barcode. So behind the barcode, there is a URL added, or there's a link added to it. So let's say, for example, you are supposed to scan a barcode where it will give you a description of a product. This, what is this product is about,
Mhm.
or it is a destination address given for, let's say, this product will go to this destination. However, if the barcode is same at the front end, but the back end, it is changed. So then it will be a sophisticated cyber attack. So with that, I will give you an example. Last year in Canada, I think in Calgary, so they have a parking. Uh, in the parking, you can scan the barcode and QR code. Actually, you can scan the QR code and you can make the payment. So people were scanning the QR code and making the payment, but cyber attackers were using that QR code and sending their payment to somewhere else. So after a week, they noticed they were supposed to pay $10 for the parking. They were charged $31 from each of the customer. So with that, they were able to steal almost $1.3 million in a week, just tricking them to scan the barcode and scan the QR code and make the payment. So it's just an example. Just click it, just if you make a wrong click, it will drain your bank account. So this is very much sophisticated attack. So I will give it back to you, Crystal.
All right, thank you for that. Yeah, speaking of real life cyber attacks or cyber threats, can you share an example of how Hopland InfoSec helped the company stop a cyber threat within, within the supply chain or anything that Hopland InfoSec helped the company?
Sure, absolutely. So I will go back to the example, which is continuous monitoring. So in terms of continuous monitoring, what we do is we perform threat intel and also deep and dark web monitoring at the same time every day, 24 by 7. So we have our alert system and it is automated. So in case anything is leaked into the dark web or any information is leaked out there, and as soon as we find a vulnerability, it will automatically alert us. And with that alert, so let's say if the organization have a SOC team, which is Security Operations Center, so which is they are also monitoring. They also happen to have a SIM tool, for example, in this case. So we will automatically send that alert to them. So that way they were able to identify those vulnerabilities and take an actions regarding that. So I'm going to give you an example about this. So one of our manufacturing client, so they were having a issue about this. So uh, one of a CFO from that manufacturing industry, I'm not going to disclose the name, and their son was playing a video game on a cell phone, and while playing the video game, they received some token. So he was very happy and he downloaded those tokens. So with those tokens, he downloaded a malicious software. So with that malicious software, what happened? They were able to steal all the credential was saved into the cell phone, and they did not have any kind of mobile security software installed in his cell phone. And that time his data was leaked within less than 12 hours in the deep and dark web. And as soon as his data is leaked into the system, we were notified, and we were able to notify the customer, and we'll let them know that this data has been leaked. So please work on it. So they were able to identify that gap, and they were able to take actions right away. Thank you, Crystal. So back to you.
Thank you. That's a very insightful example. It really shows that, cyber attacks happen anywhere and everywhere. We have one more here, one more question here. Like, given the cyber attacks are rising or cyber threats are rising, why haven't many supply chain organizations adopted a mature cybersecurity framework yet?
So why a lot of supply chain organization has not adopted this and level of maturity in terms of cybersecurity? I think if we try to think organically, uh, a lot of the supply chain organizations are not very much tech savvy or not very much expert in terms of IT or technology or IT system. They do depend on IT. There is no doubt about it. But as it is going back to the previous point that I was highlighting, a lot of the supply chain managers would be really surprised why my delivery has been halted just because of a cyber attack, right? So that level of lack of oversight into the technology has led to situations of lack of adoption in terms of cybersecurity framework, and also because of the interconnected nature of the supply chain, it is difficult to implement. You can have the system up and running, but you have to really make sure the users are engaged and adoption is there, and then also it is continuously updated, addressed, or it has been maintained, and also people are actually using it. In a lot of the supply chains, what is happening that there is system in place, but that system is probably getting used in 25% of the time. In 75% of the time, that system is not being used. A good reason could be, in those situations the companies are using uh, the process outside the system because of the disruption or deviation in the process. A shipment has been delayed from China. It is passing through Suez Canal. So there is a strike at Suez Canal, right? The system doesn't necessarily consider that unless you have a very good supply chain control tower, and not many companies do have that. So, number one, because of the lack of technological maturity or technological understanding. Number two, the interconnected system, as the vendors could be located in other countries where in general there is a lack of technological maturity. If the vendors are located in one country where they have a lot of problems with internet connection, they might even have problems with the electric generator, a lot of different things you can think of. So that could be an issue to implement any kind of software programs. And then on top of that, I think there has been a lack of executive executive support, especially the CEO or CFO or some other people or individuals has not addressed these cybersecurity issues with the supply chain leadership. And there are companies out there who are actually doing it, but not many companies are doing that. Majority of the companies are lagging behind because of the executive support. So we can address this issue by focusing on these three fronts. And I'll really ask Mohammed to give his perspective. Thank you so much, Mohammed.
Thank you, Imran. So just to add on what Imran was saying, right? So think about it this way: education. People need to be educated about supply chains, cyber security perspective, because if unless until we are educated, we won't be able to identify the loopholes. We have to know where is the problem. If we cannot identify where is the problem, we cannot fix it. So I would say a couple of things here. Number one is the higher management in supply chain industry. They need to get themselves involved and get themselves regulated with the supply chain framework and cybersecurity framework at the same time. So I believe they are following the supply chain framework, but they are not following the cybersecurity standards. Number two is they need to understand their total ecosystem. I'm pretty sure most of the folks they don't know what is their vendors are using. So let's say they have a logistic company, they don't know what kind of security system the logistic company has, or what type of security framework they have been using. So those are the things are very much crucial on this, and that's why LeaSmart and Hoplon InfoSec can work together, because here we have an expert from a cybersecurity standpoint. At the same time, we have an expert from a supply chain industry standpoint. So supply chain industry person can deep dive and give us their perspective and mitigate the risk. And we can be also given the same thing from security standpoint. So with that, I would say that's all from my side. Imran, do you want to add a few words?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for that. Yeah, you have really highlighted an interesting point that, you know, the companies need to come together and truly understand this issue. And I do not want them to be in a situation when they are waking up from a disaster. For example, a port strike happened or any cyber attack happened, and then you are going to Macy's or you are going to Target or you're going to Walmart and you're not finding the product because we're still waiting to fix the cyber attack or IT issues. So and I think we are going to arrange more and more workshops and seminars and conferences to carry out this problem or issue to the next level. Even we will hold conferences in multiple countries, and that so that we get more traction from the supply chain or the industry leadership to really focus on this issue. What we want to do is to make them future driven with the AI technologies, machine learning technologies, blockchain technologies, and Internet of Things devices. There will be a lot of miniature devices. There will be a lot of changes, in terms of handling the processes. Now we are using ERP system. There might be a day where you will be seeing people using ERP system on their mobile devices. So in that case, the technological landscape is going to change, and I believe that will also create a lot more issues in terms of cybersecurity. So we need to be prepared in that framework. So we have to have that kind of futuristic plan so that we can build that kind of strategies. And we're working with a lot of different clients already in that regard. So I would like to get engaged more and more with the business leaders to really hear their perspective. I would really invite the business leaders to contact us, contact LeaSmart, contact Hopple and InfoSec. Let's discuss your issues. Let's hear where you are at today, and let's hear where you want to be in 5 years or 10 years, because that's really important. Because every day, whenever I think about the cybersecurity or whenever I think about supply chain, every day is different. Every day is changing. The new day is going, we never know what's going to come tomorrow. So but what we can do, we can put control, and we can put process, and we can put strategy in place so that we can be much more competitive in the marketplace. Due to the globalization and AI and other types of technologies, we really need to put ourselves in a position to be much more competitive in the global phase. This is what I wanted to say to conclude my side of the conversation.
Thank you. Back to you, Crystal.
Okay. So I hope all our audience, we found the session insightful and valuable in strengthening the supply chain in terms of cybersecurity and everything. And thank you very much, Mr. Imran and Mr. Mohammed, for sharing your time, your expertise, and your valuable insights with us today. Your perspectives on cybersecurity in the supply chain have truly deepened our understanding about, supply chain, about what's happening in the cybersecurity, everything that has happened when it comes to real life cyber threats and cyber attacks. This has deepened our understanding on what to do and what um, what actions, especially the supply chain organizations, has to do when it comes to emerging cyber threats and cyber attacks. So it's very insightful and helpful, not just actually to supply chain organizations, but to everyone. Cyber threats and cyber attacks happen every day and anywhere at any time. So we have to always be cyber aware of everything that we do online. And this webinar is very helpful for everyone. So to everyone who joined and to our speakers, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing everything that you know. And I hope there's more. There's more webinar in collaboration with Hopland InfoSec and Smart and Via Smart.
Thank you so much, everybody, for organizing this seminar and workshop. And thanks, everybody, all the participants for joining.
Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you for hearing out for last 40 minutes. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.